Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Midnight Muffins. Been a while, huh? Yes, yes. Well, today we're going to be working on um, nested widgets, which is going to be a little challenging because there's async involved, ownership, and you have to be able to provide the child widgets. So we have a couple different concerns we have to be aware of. All right. Well, here we go. We're going to hop right in there. Oh dear. What do we have? Oh, I was looking at the icons again. CSP headers, all that stuff, all that jazz. Now, So we're going to hop right into nested widgets. What is a nested widget? I guess that's the first question. A nested widget would be something where we would want to have some sort of widget that can contain other widgets. I know it sounds silly, but it might be a layout, right? Where you could have two different widgets, one for the left column and then one for the right column, and that the columns themselves are a widget. So being able to do that gives us a lot of flexibility, an incredible amount of flexibility. Now we just have to figure out where I was putting the notes for that. I thought it was in here. Collect widgets. Huh. This must be it. Instead of removing the widgets and passing them into a function. Okay, yeah. That's all right. Gonna plan it out a little bit first. And so widgets might have some sort of setup, right? So we're just gonna write out just a bunch of notes, collect the thoughts, and then design it. Mm. Okay. Good morning, Bear CTY360. How are you? I'm gonna switch my watch to the other hand today. I don't know. After a while, it irritates me. There we go. Widgets maybe blah. What was I gonna write there? You haven't worn one regularly in at least a decade. Yeah, for me it's a Fitbit, and I gotta say I use it for two things: monitoring sleep and waking me up. That's about it. So arguably I could take it off during the day. You still do when running and cycling? Yeah, for me it's jump rope. All right, so maybe some sort of setup. Widgets may. Oh, that's what it was. Blah was able. I misspelled it. Maybe able to host to contain other widgets. Let's see. I think these are kind of like the big three. Let me make sure the sizing's right here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Widgets may have some sort of setup that requires making async requests to the back end. So we want some sort of future that returns a function that takes children that outputs HTML, right? Just chicken scratches there, but I think this is what we need. We need the future here so that we can collect those into some list. then we need to return a function so that we can receive the children when the children are ready. Right? It's interesting. How do we want to set this up in terms of the children being available and ready to send responses back? Do we have to send back the children widgets first? Let's say you had something simple, right? Like let's say you had a 2-column widget that had two things, a 2-row widget, and it had an image. Okay. Now this one would then need maybe let's pretend it's something that we already have, like a user list and like a rich text. Okay. This one here, right? This one needs some data from the back end. And let's pretend that this one also needed data from the back end. So when we build up these futures and the order that we do them in, it should be the leaf nodes first, shouldn't it? So that we could actually pass those to the higher up elements. Hey, Xenocron, good morning. How are you? So, 2-column widget, 2-row widget, user list. Okay. Yeah, so we would have to toss these two children into the futures ordered first, and then these two, and then these two. And if we do that, we should be able to just keep track of how many widgets, how many children any given widget actually wants. And then we just pull them off of the futures ordered. Oh, that I think will work today. How's it going? Pretty well, pretty well. We're going to do, as you see there, nested widgets. All right. So we need a couple different things in here. That's going to be a future to a function that takes a child. Okay. And what does this signature look like? Let's go update our template future. So we receive back a future whose output is a function that results in markup. Or is it a result, a create result to a function that then has a create result to some markup? And this needs to take a slice of widgets. Actually, it needs to own them, doesn't it? And in Rust, we can't really... so we're going to need to know how many... It's going to have to be variable list. And because we're using the same signature for each one, this has to be a vector of widget for the children. So it'll take that. Or can this be a function? Just a function pointer. Because at this point, is this going to need to be async? I mean, it'll be a function that returns a future. Is that really going to be a pinbox future again, or it is? We need 1, 2, 3 more. What's a spicy typewriter? That's a spicy typewriter. That is a spicy type. All right. So, yeah, the template feature. Basically, when we have a template, like a widget or something like that, it has some setup work, right? Which is why we have the outer future. But that future should return a function that is going to be used for drawing it. So that thing there is going to accept the child widgets, right? And it's going to return a future that gets awaited for the markup. Yeah, we're going to be coming back to this a little bit to kind of finesse it. All right. Now, everything's going to break. Yeah. And that's okay. Let's set this up for one of them. Admin header. What would this look like? We're going to need something consistent here. Box pin, that's fine. However, let's see if this is not doing any sort of awaiting. And it's not. Then this just returns a function. A function that takes a widget. Okay. Great result to the HTML, right? Markup, I think it was. That goes there. And then we just return that function. Oops. And what's different? Thank you. Thank you. Hey, it worked. I saw it. Oh, I see. This isn't, we're not doing a pin box feature here. We have async. We could change that to, if we did change that, instead of a pin box feature, I think we still have to, no, it still has to be a pin box because we don't have the, well, we could do this here. And that's the result. Okay. Impl future. 1, 2. Infiltrate and type aliases is unstable. I wonder why. I wonder why. Oh, let's go look real quick. Why in the world would they say that's unstable? Tracking issue for permit infiltrate type in aliases. Central. Unresolved questions. Should the set of defining uses... Huh. Alright, well, if we can't do that yet, I guess we're back to boxing that. Which means... this cannot be async there. What would be pin box? You can use regular generics though? Yes, you can. You can. All right. Let's take this. Come back here. Pub type render future is equal to that. And that's going to be the result here. Okay, there's that. There's that. There we go. Getting those matched up, right? Yeah, in this case, I'm actually preferring the double dispatch, the allocation over the monomorphization because I want the smaller WASM size. So while we could use generics there, I, they should all be the same. But if we did have some sort of, no, each one would be different if we didn't box it. Because each feature would have a different size, different type. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put Discord in. Oh, I guess I don't have to today. Um, Let me fix that. There we go. Okay. I think those look all right. So back to admin header. I can't see the error. Cargo check. Oops. It's going to be a lot of errors in here. Okay, which is the one we care about? The one we care about is in admin header. Page, admin header. Here we go. Expected function pointer, found function item. Hmm. Hey, Dad, what's that? Good morning. I think it's actually selecting the wrong section here. I think it means this. Because in this case, we end up returning result that does this or the error. And it found this with what? But for whatever reason, it doesn't like that. Okay, so the pin is actually, this is an interesting type here. Pin omitted a whole bunch of stuff with this. Your brain, so is mine. I'm right there with you. I mean, this is so much better than the C++ ones, though, so I'm really thankful for that. Required for the cast to do the object type, define future futures, output, pin, future output. So the function should take a vector model. Yep. Did I miss like an OK or something? I feel like I missed an OK or something. Okay, so we have a result. box pin future. So this template future. Oh, I see. We're doing a result to the template future. Okay, fine. So we have the OK, then we have the box pin, right? Box. Well, the pin box. Then we have the future, dine future, which is this guy here, and that guy is supposed to return output, great result. Did I get the everything lined up? What's the difference between a function pointer and function item? One I believe is the trait, and the other is like a pointer to a function. If you think C, right, pointer to a function is the memory address of where the function is, which is what we're going for here. You can also have this is something that returns let's see, a box function. In which case, so like if you returned a closure or something like that, a closure implements the FN trait. So if we made that a capital F here, yeah, but I want to avoid the closure. So I'm just trying to say, hey, this is the function pointer. I wonder if that's okay, but then we have the output should be a result. And in the positive case, it's this. Okay, render. And render. That seems okay. This returns a future. This box pin async mode. All right, let's look at this. Okay, stare into the depths of the error. I mean, here they're saying, we have some error here. The bolding is focusing on the error. Supercuber. Oh, thank you. Ah, Alice. You can explicitly convert one of the function items to a pointer if it doesn't happen automatically. Oh. Or in your specific example, you can also specify the type of C2. So that would be here with the render future, right? Is this thing. One more paren. Did that fix it? All right, where user form. Let's scroll up here. User delete, styles redirect, paragraph login, flash, error, admin tiles, admin setup, and page. So admin header wasn't in there. Thank you, Rust. May I have another? Oh, wow. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Render fun. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Gotta count those parens. All right. That's a lot of setup for most of these that don't have anything to do in their setup. Needs more parens. Can alias this or not using that much? Yeah, I think it'll be all right. All right, here let's do a couple more. Now this one, the setup requires see event cookie jar stuff. Do we await in here at all? No. Okay. Box spin. Async move. Block. Oh, but oh no. Oh no, Mr. Bill. Because now these elements here actually have to go inside of the next piece. All right, so maybe we do go with the closure then. It's either that or we create a type, but then we can't implement a function for types yet. I don't know if we'll ever. I don't know if you can ever do it. The compiler can. All right. So it's not going to work for this. Okay. I'm glad we're doing these kind of one at a time. Coming back here, we need the function to be a fn. Ah, yes. So now, render function. Can we even do that without boxing it? I guess it's kind of boxed already, isn't it? Pinbox future. Yeah, I was thinking FM once too. Because they're basically taking ownership of everything. But, okay. All right, let's undo this one. Move that. Vector of widget. Oh, no. We still need async move here. That'll be returning one of these. Oh, this is... should be a move on this side. In this case, we end up returning OK markup. there's, there's too many parens. Okay, so that's that one at the top. Now we need this one, and that one. Okay. The size for... yes, okay. We gotta box the future. That's a lot of boxing. Not like this? What is this? Well, there's too much boxing. Here, let me... I'm just gonna box this real quick and then we'll discuss it. Okay. Okay. So we basically have multiple pieces here, right? And if we ignore that compiler error for just a bit, the first async block here, the purpose of this section here is to allow fetching to happen to the back end, right? And that eventually returns a closure, right? But because we're trying to avoid the monomorphization and not use the generic here, we have to box the closure. Right. So we'll do some fetching to the back end. When that's done, then we return a closure that encloses all of the setup elements here. The other thing we could do is create a trait that, no, and we would end up boxing that anyways. Sorry, what I'm thinking is we could have another like struct stuff, and then we put all of this stuff in there, right? And then we impl render, or my render for stuff. And my render would end up returning. That would end up returning what? Function render to probably create result. It would be a future, right? It would need to be a pin box future. Right? Something like that. So we could go with this route, right? But this is exactly the same thing that the closure is going to do, right? The closure ends up creating one of these things, and it's already implementing the trait, right? FN once. It might make it a little bit more readable, though. The whole point of this outer block is really just to let as many requests to the backend get set up at the very, very, very beginning. And yeah, that's it, really. Okay. Type mismatch resolving that. Okay, what do we get wrong here? Pinbox async move. That's the outer piece. Then we eventually. Okay. Then here. Does that make more sense? Supercuber? What were you thinking? There's probably something I just don't see. All right, we come back here. It says box dine FN ones. That returns a render future. Render future is a future. I mean, it is kind of complicated, and each one supports a different need, right? All right, but what is the type? This is admin setup. Expected dine FN ones found closure. Oh, expected result box dine FN ones to that. Found result box closure. Do we have to do like an as FN once on that? Required for the cast, the object type. Move closure should implement it, yeah. I mean, what's missed here? As if and once. Maybe we save it to a local first? It's either that or there's something else that's subtle. Oh, wait. Expected result to a box. Found result to pre-escape string. Oh, that's true. I know, we didn't finish this. Oh, wrong error. Oh, thank you. But weren't we trying to return a closure that returned a future? Yeah, we were trying to return a render future, so we missed this whole section. So this closure here should return a future, like so. All right, let's check it now. Okay. Type mismatch. Okay, involving. Yeah, it's same thing. Output. I wonder, can we build this up? Let's see. Found enum box. And why? I wonder if it's just because they don't match. It's saying, oh, you know what, this is a closure. We're not going to show you all the details about this. This is just a closure. So let's do the is it plugged in check? And we'll just check the types here. Okay. Okay. Do that. Now, what is this actual type supposed to be, right? Okay, let's return that. There's our closure. Yep, should be all angry and everything. Now, this here should be dyn render function. Uh, but it's not upset about this, so it thinks that is the case? Oh, box FN ones. Oh, this isn't boxed. I box it down here. Okay, let's move the box. It's so hard to see with that thing on the way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it just needed this here. Okay, so all we did was really give that little tiny bit of type information there. Everything else was the same. Hmm. Just to double check. Yeah, that's from the previous one. Okay, perfect. Is there a way to simplify this and still achieve everything we need to do here? Right. We need the children passed in. Once the children are passed in, we might be able to get away with this block here not being async. And say, okay, you got to do all of your async work up ahead of time. And maybe we could do that. Which one wouldn't need that? Which one would need that? User list as users. Yeah, they do all of their waiting ahead of time. So maybe, just maybe, we can get rid of this here. Not return a future there. Say, okay, everything has to be ready. Let's change that type. One more time. So the render future isn't going to be a render future. It's just going to be render result. What is that? All right, now if we come back in here to admin setup, let's get rid of that move. Oh, I like that. So we're basically giving you a chance to do all of your work here. Otherwise, this. Now, if we wanted to, most of these, actually, most of them so far, have not needed to have an async block here. What's the event argument to the future function? So this here has a whole bunch of stuff in it, right? This is the event that triggered the whole request, right? So we get a request, we're building up the response, we get some environment variables, some extra state, and the cookie jar. So really, this is the entry point, or this is the event that caused the worker to be spun up, and then we start building these pieces as we process it. Oh, and Veluti, thank you for that follow. Yeah, that should be all right. Let's go back to admin header. Fix this. That's going to be down there for a moment. Async move. We need to return a closure here. Do I split up the async request and the rendering into two steps? Why split up the async requests and the rendering into two steps? Because so the async requests, so that we get as many requests going to the back end as early as possible, right? They might not be able to render. We don't want to get into a situation um, where you're basically making an async request to the back end, you get a result, then you go on to the next one, and then have to make another request to the back end. So like, we don't want to do it serially. We want to do it concurrently. So everything should prep as early as possible. Because I would rather have those 6 concurrent requests going to the back end as early as possible. I think we can do a maximum of 6 at the same time, and then they just wait. Developers at Cloudflare. Fill in workers. And this is on fetch, if I remember correctly. Magic number 6. No? Limits? 6. Yeah. Now, but it's an interesting question because um, why couldn't the rendering just be async, right? Why not just have async rendering? Let's go back to the other file. It's a better example of this. Because of the children, we need this here because the child has to be prepared before it can be passed in. And because we need those children making requests to the backend as early as possible. Wind up with the box, no children widget, markup. Yeah, because we have to receive the children later. So once something is ready to be rendered, it will receive children once the children are ready too. Then they get passed in and that gets rendered. So really we just await here and the rendering is broken up so that the children can get passed in. Instead of the widget knowing what the children are. So in this case, that's a great question. the widget could know what the children are, right? In our definition, widgets have children, right? But I'm separating it out so that the child widgets can preload their own data. Um, the best place for this, um, yeah. See, the problem is we're actually switching this around so that we can start to use the children arguments. Um, an example would be, let's say you had some. I'm going to toss HTML in here, right? Let's say you had some div that had a style, and that style had a background color, right? And it was black or whatever, right? And then it had some sort of child in here, right? Well, let's say if just it's a contrived example, but this div has no need to go to the back end, right? But the child might. The child might actually be the user list, right? You know, whatever the user list is here. So the user list will get fetched. That component would get rendered and then passed into this one. Actually, this is not the correct element here. This should not be of type widget. This should be of type mod markup. And the reason for doing that is so that we can have them inserted into this markup here. For example, let's say instead of having this mimeograph set up here, instead of that, we would have, you know, let's say the first child, right? Right. And you could just do that. It would just be available. You just drop it in there. Here. Hopefully we can get to a point where we start using this. Because I think it'll work. But going through that has really helped to actually see this type here. Because this should be markup and not a widget. Okay. I think that makes more sense to me. That was good. Although I could be wrong, it might not actually make sense to me. So the way you understand it is, I want the async part of the rendering to happen depth first. Yes, right, from leaf nodes up. Uh, and I think we'll be able to do a little optimization because, as in that example that we just had, there is no need for something like that div to return an async block, right? So I think we will have async versions and non-async versions, and we will eventually have to simplify some of these, or well, make the return type a little bit more complicated, and that this point here, it's going to be like an either, right? Like it's either going to be um, a future or not, right? But that'll come later. Okay. This one looks good. I'm going to go back to the admin header and get this set up. Now this is going to get a vector of mod markup. Close your render function. Oh, no. I'm going to return OK closure. And then we'll have this in here. Did I miss one? OK closure, OK markup. All right. We'll figure that out in a moment. Guess we don't have to give it the type info there. All right, mismatch types. Expected. Oh, we have to box that. Mocks. Good. And this is not a template future. This is a, I guess, wasn't it a template future? Yeah. What's next? Admin tiles, yes. Okay, closure on that. Next. Error. Oops, wrong one. So let's see, you have a user list that needs a count from the backend at the top level and then fetch each user's score for the children. You would first do each user's future concurrently, then render them. Then parent's future, then render. How's that better than having parent.future do all that, then return the markup in one simple async function? Because I wouldn't be able to compose them in a different way in the future. These things need to not know about what the children are. The parent should have no idea what the child is in these cases. So they shouldn't know that, oh, it's a child. It's an image child. It's a HTML widget child. It's a, two-column layout child. You don't think the added complexity brings performance improvements here? I think see if we didn't do it this way, then we would get into a situation where we wouldn't be able to await on all of the children, on all of the setups, right? The async setups. See, if we're not doing the async setup at the very beginning, that means that we're doing it somewhere in the middle, and I don't want that. So the parent would then have to know, okay, children, give me your async setup. I need to pass them up the chain. So this is going to have to happen anyways. Um, and that it would be a different kind of complexity because each container would have to ask its child, do you have any async setup? I need to collect that, and down the chain, right? And then once all that's collected, you give it back to the futures ordered, and the futures ordered then goes through and awaits on every single one of those. And once the await is finished for, let's say, like the very first one, which would be the top level, it would be the top down in that case. Um, yeah, in most of the cases here, you're not going to have a heavy relationship between children and parent components. If there is a tighter relationship, they are less likely to be set up like this. Like components are really designed to be standalone. Let's pull that trait in. Yeah, they pretty much have to be in order to be composable. Uh, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we got that one. So, okay, closure in there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't do that. Don't do that. Couple more of these. Well, the list is getting smaller. Yep, we'll come back to that. Interest string not found on those. That's fine. Paragraph. What do we have here? All right. Well, 7 more. 7 more. Nope. Oh, 6, 5. And what is this one? This one's redirect. This one is there is no body for redirect. What a waste. I wanted to redirect a different way. I'm just kind of shoving it into this mechanism for now. So we'll do that. Get one of those. Okay, etc. Oh, that should be a box. There we go. Here. Okay, so this is one. This is styles. And styles actually has to fetch some stuff from the back end. So this information here actually has to be outside of that. And then once that's ready, then the render can happen, the render function. So depending on what it receives from the back end and how it transforms it into pre-escape CSS or something else, it'll do different things. Right? Where's that HTML macro from? That's from the mod crate. MAUD. It is just fantastic. And we have OK closure. There we go. Ah, thank you. Muted indeed. Oh goodness. Yes, we are. I was just thinking, oh, you know what? We could actually toss this into the render function and delay the execution of that. But I think it's probably better to do more of the setup work ahead of time. I can kind of see it both ways, but because you're more likely to be waiting until everything's ready and then just whoosh, send out the data. Okay, so that's all of those. Now what is it? Styles. Oh, styles. Styles is one of these. Like we actually have to call styles and pass it an empty vector. Then we get the response. Okay, same thing here. And this is where we end up rendering the page content. Now, thoughts on a push to mute rather than a toggle? Yeah, unfortunately, it's like way over there right now. But point taken. Let's see. What can we do here? Um, Here, settings, hotkeys. No, is it in hotkeys? Yeah, here we go. Push to mute is space, but I don't think that was working for me. Yes, yeah, I'm pressing space right now and it does nothing. I would much rather it do that. Hotkeys. Um, F12. Testing. Yeah, see, it's still it doesn't work. I don't want to cough in your ear. You know, you have to. Yeah, it's just not right. I do have a foot pedal that comes with my keyboard, and I could hook it up to the computer, but I mean, push to mute just doesn't seem to work. I mean, maybe it's because these two are already set. And I don't understand why. Um, why does it turn red when I hover over these? Key combination is shared with mute to act as toggle. Hmm. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna be getting the where is it? Come back here. Let's go up there. I gotta switch the screens. I mean, I'm getting one of those push to mute things I can just attach to this guy, and then problem solved. Oh my goodness. That sounds that sounds challenging. All right, we're gonna pass in nothing to these. Expected function found variant. Oh, found widget. So self dot what's going on here? Self dot widgets. That's a futures ordered. So while we get one of those out, this is a result. I see. So it's either going to be okay or error. Someone actually reported in for us. I'll workplace violation eventually. Yeah, I worked with a guy that we didn't know. We actually approached him on it, but he had like this funky BO thing going on, and it was hard to like come over and like pair program with him. Like, dude, and occasionally, you go out for a smoke, so you get like the BO and the smoke, which is challenging for a non-smoker. And it turned out like he lived at this place and was having these troubles with his landlord, and because his landlord wouldn't fix the water heater, so he had like cold water. And it went on for months, like 9 months or more, and yeah, it was rough. And he didn't tell anybody about it. Nobody knew, and we kind of brought it up to HR because we didn't want to kind of approach him on it. But yeah, then he just got just like, hey, here's a pass to the gym. Shower when you get into work, and problem solved. It was fantastic after that. Yeah. So, but you never quite know what somebody's going through. However, your story, I mean, maybe there was something else going on. Damn it! Come on. All right, hold on. Um, which foot pedal are which smile.amazon.com? We're gonna go. No, not smile. We're gonna go to Amazon. Hold on a sec. We need a mic push, mic mute. Hmm. Yeah, we need the XLR. Brown.amazon.com. You pay extra. All right. So we want to sort by customer reviews. Blah blah blah. Okay, maybe not by customer reviews. Yeah, that didn't work. How about just okay? No, don't. So which one should I get? So we've got this one, the rolls one. Huh. And some of these do toggle as well. Some random foot pedal that I could map to F13 to 24 would be fine. I wonder, 1 star? Yeah. 'Cause they have them for like $50. But getting it so it works here would actually make it search for transcriptionist pedals. Oh, interesting. See, like something like this here, I think would work. Because I would actually prefer it to be ahead of the computer. Like I'd prefer to do that ahead of the computer, so I'm not, so I could use it for Zoom or whatever, right? And then it's the same. I go from, because occasionally I'll get into Zoom, I'll like hit F9 because that's what I have this attached to, and I'll clear my throat, and and somebody will say like, "Hey, you might want to mute." Oh yeah, I think the one I had been looking at, what is it? I know some of like these here. See, I think this. Some of these have like little other toggles that you can't see that change the mode from like tap to on off, and then push to talk. See, switch latching. That's the toggle or momentary microphone mute switch with that. Something like that. Are they out of them? $100. Wow. Acts as a circuit breaker. It's a small button, and you might find yourself tap dancing a bit. Huh. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's look at transcription pedals. Oh wow, those are bike pedals. Oh, something went wrong. Oh, I see. Play, pause, rewind, record. And these don't seem any cheaper. I do have a USB foot pedal. It came with a keyboard. So let me see if I can find that real quick. Be right back. Nope, I think it's in the other building. All right. Well, who knows? Maybe sometime in the future I'll get one of those. That or find that thing. I don't know where that went. Should still be in the box, but I don't see the box. So at this point, we get result to a box dyne FN1. So what do we do if it failed? Do we omit it? All right, just that easy. That is cryptic, isn't it? Give a fun. All right. So everything compiles. Kind of don't believe it. Okay. Let's do a dev on that. There we go. It worked. Of course it worked. Let's log in. Protocol mismatch. Oh, it doesn't know I'm in dev mode. It should. All right, and that should just not have a little slash at the end. Oh. So yeah, we're getting some other error. Yeah, I don't have permission to view that page. Okay. Obviously, since it compiled, absolutely. Okay. Well, most of it worked. The admin page isn't coming up. We end up having some odd protocol mismatch, which shouldn't have happened because, yeah, that just shouldn't have happened. Go to admin, not just admin. And now it's going to tell me, let's go read the cookie. You don't have permission to view the page, but we logged in. Rust. And here we get the protocol mismatch. Wow, why? Okay. See, this was supposed to get us through that. We have debug assertions on. This is what it should have been. Unless somehow... And thank you for the follow. It is the port part of the refer hostname. In this case, it is the hostname because I didn't break it out of it. All right, this is part of our super cheap URL parsing. Because we didn't want to bring in the URL crate, that's just way too big. So we ended up coming up with our own super cheap version, which is just this here. So yeah, we don't get a username, password, port. We didn't bother with that because most of the time it's just not needed. Okay, but that should be it. Let's log some of this. Um, Hostname. Proto. Leftover tokens. Fine. There we go. Let's try again. Aren't unused functions and crates removed at compile time? Yes. Yes, they are. But that crate is very, very thorough. So just by pulling it in, you end up pulling a lot in. Because when you go to get, you know, any part of the URL, it parses the whole thing. Okay. Let's run it again. Login. Yeah, those are the same. I mean, is it just debug assertions? I wonder if it's stripping it. See, it's optimized plus debug info. Now, see, it should have been compiled with debug on. So that should have been fine. Let's come back over here, log in again. Login failed. Oh, it's not debug. And Lotka 8, good morning. And Merch House. What was that, the Pirates of Penzance with Baron von Munchausen? Am I using you? No, I'm not. Nope. We're using mod. And we're doing server-side rendering. So, how is this not in debug mode? Dev. Regular dev, env. Okay, so that's going to be in regular test. So we're building development. I should have done it. Oh, you love the syntax so much. Oh, very cool. Very cool. What are you using for your learning program? The book, the lessons, the Rust book? Nice. Gonna try one more time. Hmm. That's a bummer. For C++, one of my favorites is the exceptional C++ books and the more exceptional C++. Okay, well, I can come back to that. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but... Huh. Why would that be failing? Is it in cargo.toml? Debug 1. Is it the... I mean, it's either this here, the optimization level, stripping stuff out, but I would expect that here we're in dev mode. It seems like it should work. Just going to remove that for a bit. Hey, coding garden fan. How you doing? All right. No, we're just going to leave that there. Because I don't have I don't want to get distracted too much here. No, not for that. Okay, log in. Here we go. Let's log in again. Evil Halsey. Ha! Lies. No, okay, that's fine. Let's go back to login. Do I meditate? Always so calm. No, just been in rougher situations. And, you know, when you go through something really hard, it kind of adjusts your perspective. So, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with this. Like, why isn't this working? Maybe it's just not publishing correctly? Because we removed it. The whole check. Let's just replay this one. Resend that. Now what do they say? Location to error. Yeah, same issue. Okay. Bummer. All right. We'll figure that out later then. I'm gonna put that back. I'm gonna leave these here. I know this was working like 1 or 2 days ago. Oh, and just an FYI, I am not streaming tomorrow morning. So, unlike most days, tomorrow's a little different. All right, so let's go back into page models page. Scalamondo, thank you for that follow. All right. Let's build a widget. What widget shall we build? I would like a widget that has... Oh, you know, we've already have... let's extract some. So the admin setup has this here. Right? Basically, having something centered. That sort of widget that can just put something in the middle of the page and maybe have some properties that control how Like if it's half desktop, etc., I think would be good. So let's create a widget for that. Template. Well, what do we just call this? Centered. Range not allowed. What? Source. Oh, did it think I was doing that to that highlighted section? Oh, interesting. All right, so we're gonna have center. Actually, I'm just gonna yank that, drop that in here. And we are going to get rid of this here. And instead, we will put all of the children in there. For child and children. Okay. And that's it. So now this thing could have children. Let's make sure this is imported. PubMod center. Now we have to wire this up in models page. Center. Oh, that just wasn't saved. Okay. All right. Now, if we try to go to, let's say, login, right? Because login's working, and we had a widget. And login, if we look at the template, also uses this centered bit here. So we are going to remove that from there. That was what, 2 brackets worth? Okay, pull that over. Good. Okay. Let's go back to login. Find. Center. Children is an array of these. What did I miss? Oh, one more bracket. There we go. All right. Now, the child isn't going to be there because we didn't write the machinery to pass the children in. So we have to go through and do that. But after that's done, then composing widgets has become possible. And that's like going from, like there's multiple stages and things, right? There's like going from 0 to 1 and then from 1 to many. This is going from 1 to many. This adds all sorts of flexibility. Scaly Jake, thank you for the follow. All right, so let's go to login. It's because we forgot to upload. Upload pages to test. There we go. Now that can take like up to a minute to propagate. Right here. Reload, 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 reload. Oh, you got your first job offer in software. Trying to get some tips on staying relaxed. This seems like a good channel to find. Ah, there it is. Yeah, there. I mean, goodness, I've been at a place where we had goodness, our boss was like a drunken, abusive father, right? Just like so driven. It's like he'd throw chairs and stuff. Never touch you. Never touch you. But dang, he'd yell at you and all that stuff. And most places aren't like that. He ended up going through like anger management and uh, he got better. But goodness, it was quite intense and you kind of learn to like let things just roll off. You know, it's like he's gone through some rough stuff. So now this did do what we were expecting, right? We have this section, we've got it centered, but there is no child of this element here, which is what we knew would happen. So now we have to wire this up, get this working. So before we get too far, get UI. Um, I'm not going to commit that piece there, but the rest of this, except for maybe that comment, yeah, that. What about this? Yes, we'll take that section there. Okay. The rest of that can go away. Yes. Session. No, debugging. Most of these are just, yeah. Okay. Reworked. Template future. Okay. Let's see how far we can get in an hour. Bad credentials. Oh, what is that one? There we go. Got it. All right. Now we log into the site. Yada yada. Okay. That didn't get committed. Buff do E. Reload everything. This here, this needs to change. So we end up creating this future template, right? That ends up getting saved. But we have to change this so it's done in a specific order so we can later provide the children to the components that require them. Now, how do we do that? We need to do a depth first search on this. So we could use recursion or a stack. And I don't, where's self even being used in here? Self.widgets. Yeah, this is such a weird place for this to live. Not going to fix that at the moment. All right, we're going to set up a stack here. That and how do we know, how are we going to know how many get get passed into a given widget, right? Because later we're gonna have this whole futures unordered producing these futures that are ready, and then we have to collect them and pass them in to these given widgets. Now we could either kind of do like just have a widget take however many it wants. Not a good idea. Or we have to look at the widgets again. So we might need to build some other structure here. And what is this returning? As it ends up pushing that on there. Future templates, okay. Oh, we return the futures unordered. It gets passed and then we return it. Okay, that's odd. Why would past self do this to future self? What is this called? So here we build the widgets, and then way down here, we pass the widgets into page. Now at this point, I believe those widget things are destroyed. Well, the definition's gone. Because these widgets that's just a future. And then we come down into render and come into this. And this is where we need to restructure things. We need some sort of data structure that tells us instructions on how to redo this. Hey, Dev Spaju, how you doing? And thank you for that raid. Good morning. Hope the game is coming along. Last time I popped in your stream, it looks really good. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, he made Bloody Rally Show, which is this really cool, fun, kind of, I don't know, it feels kind of retro to me. Top-down racing game, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of a mix between, like, what would you say, Carmageddon and a GTA 1. It kind of feels like that. And the new one, I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's basically a space game. How's my project going? Pretty good. We're actually working on a project called mimeograph. Stardews. Yes, Stardews. Um, so if we look at mimeograph here, it's like a WordPress alternative. And we're at the point where we can render some pages. They are rendered securely, as you can see. If it's not plugged in, it's secure. And actually, we probably have a place where we could actually load it up. Unknown type center, that's fine. But we go to admin. We're not logged in. Okay, see, we can render stuff. Oh yeah, Captain's our bot. Yeah, And so yeah, we can take templates, render them out, and toss them on here. We're actually in the middle of trying to make it so that widgets can be nested, so you can have nested widgets. That would make it so that you could reuse the centering widget with this login widget. So at the moment, we're trying to come up with some sort of data structure that could represent the instructions for how to assemble the site. That's very kind of high level hand wavy text. But if we come back to model page, what we had been doing was going through each widget, right, because they were not nested yet, and we would create them. And you could have them, just top to bottom. And that worked pretty well, right? That's a good kind of stepping stone. It helped us figure out how we were going to build the widgets, what sort of features we needed, right? Where's the async work in here? So that's come along quite a bit. The next stage is to basically take this and instead of pushing these into this list here, just serially, like one after the next, we actually have to do it based on dependencies. So the things that need to be done first are going to be the leaf nodes. Actually, I guess that's not entirely true, is it? Like that's what I would want, but we could await the children to be ready. Oh, that's actually interesting. So if we await the children to be ready, we might actually be able to generate a little bit more text sooner and have less memory usage. So let's do that. We'll just keep them being pushed in the correct order. However, now we need to know how many children go into each widget. That's a challenging piece. So we could just have another list with the number. Oh, interesting. So in this case, instead of returning the features unordered, we will return a vector of, I don't know, use size. Okay. Widget children. Child count? Children count? And we don't really know how many there should be. If I could hit the right button there. So yeah, let's just do it top down. And that should work. We'll just await later. Okay. Now, when we do get a widget, right, the first thing we will do is check to see, do you have permission for it? If you don't have permission, then we're going to skip it for now. That's going to have to change later. We need some sort of null widget. Yeah. We need like the empty widget here. Something that can fill a space. Okay, let's create another one real quick. Source, templates, empty.rs. And this is going to be very similar to center. We're just going to gut this. Takes nothing. It still has to give markup back. Okay. Oh, there's empty. Looks good. Now, in this case, we will say feature templates push empty. Okay. That way, we still have something there, and we can say, okay, and this thing doesn't take any children, which is perfect. Okay. Now, in the case of any of these, we push that on there, but then we also have the child count, and this is going to be off of the widget. So it's widget dot children dot length. And good morning, Saranya. Good morning. The main command tells more about this project. Yes. Yeah, it's not really ready yet, so I'm not trying to get too much attention to it. Oh, it's an option, children option. Um, dot map. Whatever the value is, v dot length dot unwrapper default. Oops. Okay. So if it doesn't have children, it's empty. That's fine. Then we return this, and this will be child count. So we have to be able to manage that somehow. Where was children moved? Oh, it's moved up here. Okay, well, we can do this ahead of time. That doesn't matter. Unless, of course, there's an error. Because if there is an error, actually bubble out. Let's save the length. Extract into variable. Number of children. We'll do that after this. Okay. It's funny. I don't want to borrow that. But I don't want to move it either. Why is it partially moved? Because we get a length off of it? That seems silly. Basically, it's complaining that we partially moved the widget. I don't want to copy it, in fact. We don't want to copy it. I would have thought that mapping over the child option would do that. Partially moved due to this method call. Yeah, we're mapping the option. Hmm. A mismatch. Yeah, once. Hmm. That's so strange. I feel like we've done this before. All right. Well, let's match it. Children. Children.length. Otherwise, 0. See, this should be like the same thing, right? And why couldn't we do that with the map command? Because the closure was capturing it somehow? Partially moved? I don't know. All right, this works. Now the return type. So we'll have the children count here. Now the children count is going to have to enter this here. It feels like there should be some other type here. Like widgets and child count should be paired up together. Oh, thank you for the follow. Is this Schweber? Thank you. All right. So now we need to know the child count. Not this one, though. The very first one is special. It's getting tangled. All right, so in here, when we have the widget, right, then we start looking at the children. Yeah. So we get a widget. Now we need to know how many children it expect. Then we collect the children. Oh, this isn't going to work, is it? Oh, I thought that was clever. At this point, yeah, we end up waiting for everything. Getting these functions. So we need to build a stack here of functions. Now, build a stack of the widget functions. Yeah. Okay. So we basically put things onto the stack until there's no child needed. Then we render that and pop it off the stack. Okay. So let's have let widget stack. This is going to be a vector of tuples. Going to have the usize, how many children it needs, and on the fn1s. What was the type on that? It's not in lib, was it? No, it's in template. Here. We basically want the render function. A stack of those. Okay. Then we take off of widgets and widget children one at a time, pushing them onto the stack until we find that there are no children needed. We render that, pop that off the stack, and then that gets... Do we need like a separate one for the results? What would that be? That would be a mod markup. Okay. Because as we go through this, we might get into a situation where we actually render something, but have to store the result of that until we have enough children actually ready. Oh, this is okay. Let's just play around with this. So, yep, while at some widgets, that seems fine. Okay. And what do we do first? We check the children. How many children does it need? Let's say child count. How's the summer where I live? Right now, it's been really hot. We've had this incredible heat wave, but it's usually pretty temperate. It's nice. How about you? We're just going to use an iterator there. Okay. Oh, this is render. Oh, children count should have been on that. This needs to be mutable. What else? Okay. So if we have some sort of count, if it equals 0, we do one thing. Otherwise, we do another. No, we don't have AC. No, it's usually not hot enough for that. So child count. So if we do have something, in this case, push the function into the widget stack and the child count. Okay. Widget stack. And that would be, we have to await the widget here, don't we? Yeah. Is this correct? Oh, we have to push the size too. Option. That should be an error. So if we didn't get one of these, expect. See, and this is kind of what gets me. Telecom matches, because these two things are kind of floating around and they're associated but separate. Okay, we'll copy that. Widget stack. Oh, yep, that's mutable. So is this. So in that case, we push it and then we go on to the next one, right? Because the next one in the stack is actually going to be one of its children. Yeah, this needs to be extracted. This needs to be tested. Okay, we'll do that next. Let's get it working first. I know, working, next, tested. We might have to do this. But I only have 25 minutes, so we're gonna push. Okay, so if the child count is 0, then we can render it, right? Eventually, we get to a point where where something doesn't actually need children. Your friend Jack claims that he can communicate with vegetables. Jack and the Beanstalk. All right, that one's going. That's a keeper. That's a keeper. For those of you that haven't seen this before, here we do capture some. No, not that one note. We capture some notes, and eventually we're gonna have our bot tell jokes. All right, so the big list. Here we go. That's a good one. You know, my daughter is visiting grandma for the week, and my wife sent me this message. Here, we'll put this. My wife sent me this message. I'm omitting the name of my daughter, but here. I think I'm rubbing off on her. Yeah. I mean, it's going pretty well. Oh yeah. She's funny. Yeah. All right. So if we don't have any children for this widget, what are we gonna do? We need to get the widget, and we need to save the output of this. Okay. So this widget, let's widget function is going to be a widget question mark. Okay, that's a box function. And in this case, we just put the widget function in there. Oh, that's a little bit more readable. In this case, we call the widget function and we pass nothing to it. Maybe it should be an option instead of doing this all the time. So this is going to return result. Or markup. So that's markup. Proof I'm a good father. Well, I do kind of relay some of these jokes, like that last one here. I am going to send to them. Actually, I should do that right now. Where'd it go? It's up here. All right. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna hear about that later. Okay, so we have the markup. We storing that. We actually have to save that in the HTML stack. I want something else for this though. Okay. markup. So we push that on, right? And ooh, I think I've coded myself into a corner here. Because we also need to manage the stack at the same time, right? Because once we push this onto the stack, then we should be able to start to unwind it, right? So now at this point, as long as there are children available to be taken off of the stack. Hey, VoidComp Phil, how you doing? All right. So maybe at this point we peak? Because what if the parent actually needs 2 children, right? Then, and there's only one on the stack so far. When the second one gets added, then we should be able to look and see. So this widget stack, I wanna see what's on the last entry. So is there like a last function? Of the slice or none of in. Huh. And it would be a reference to that tuple. I see. So if there is nothing there, what do we do if there's nothing? Oh, then we just render it, right? We just write it. So basically when you come back up to the top of the stack, you flush it. Huh. It's either that or we pass a writer through these, which feels like it would be the more Rust way of doing it. So maybe we should be passing the writer into these. Because if we did pass the writer in, what would that look like? No, not yet. We might switch that up later, but let's match that. So if we had a previous one, that's a top. So if the top doesn't need any children, so if that's 0, then we render it. Something like so, right? If it's not that, and I know that's wrong, but if the top of the stack does need more children, then we don't do anything yet. We wait for more. Oh, no. If it needs the same amount that we have available, we write. So if it's less than or equal to the number of children, why would it ever be, why would we ever have more children? Because if it is that, then we should be able to simply reverse the HTML stack and pass it in. All right. So we don't have any else. All right, which means that this is more of a if let sum. Okay. Now in this case, we were just peeking at the last one, and we should pop it here. Which stack dot pop. We already know it's something. Now we have to pass in the vector of widgets. And in this case, because of how we've been pushing them on, are they in the right order? Yeah, I think they are in the right order. So really, they just get HTML stack. They get the whole thing. Huh. Standard mem replace. Swap this out. This needs to be mutable. Okay. It's like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He's swapping out the golden idol right there. Oh, can't do that because it's borrowed, huh? Because of the children count. Well, let's just take the children count. Okay. Children count is equal to some children count. Yeah. Now this ends up being what? Because it's an option, and we iter on the option. Take dot flatten. Dot no, that's not right either. Because that's an option. The Lego store had a sale. People thought it was a big deal. They lined up for blocks. All right. That's a good one. One like paste and match style. That's horrible match, but close enough. All right. Yes, this needs to be a local. This needs a good cleaning. Okay. So now we take them off the stack when they need it. Okay. Get rid of that. What are we missing here? So let's say we have a list of widgets, and let's kind of think through this. Let's say we have some sort of parent. Let's say the center, and center has a child, which is login, right? Should this work? It's nice and easy. So the first thing we do is we come in through here. If child count is 0, nope. Okay, we go into the else. Widget stack, we push child count, which is going to be 1. Right, child count, iter next. And then the function widget, our function for center. So center is on the stack. Then the next one that's available should be login. Not many choices, right? Login comes through. Get the function. Child count 0, yes. So we look at this, we say, hey, widget function. We pass an empty vector in because you don't take any children. We take your markup and put it on this HTML stack thing. Then we check to see if the top of the widget stack exists. Oh, but what if it doesn't exist? Okay, else. Gotta do that. So if in this case, we would have one element that would be center on the top of the stack. Its count would be 1, and that's the exact number of elements on the stack. So we take it off of the widget stack, replace the children with a new vector so that can be repopulated again. Generate the content for the children. Hold on. No, I didn't do that right. So center comes in. Let's try this again. Center comes in. Child count, nope, goes into here, pushes onto that. Login comes in. Comes in. Child count is 0. Comes in. Says, hey, speak on the top of the stack. After pushing its HTML on top of the stack. Because we called that on OK. So that's done. So we have one element on top of the stack. Comes through. Pop that off. Replace that. Children. Good, good. We write. And then we come through again, but it's going to fail. It's gone. Well, it's a none, so everything should have been written at that point. I think that works. Okay, what's broken? Oh, use of widgets after it's been moved. Okay, where did it get moved? Widgets here. Use occurs due to use in generator. Yes. So we actually have to pass that back as well. This is why we had been passing it through. This is going to be what was it before? One of these. Okay. And oh, does that work like that? That doesn't work like that. Gonna be lazy, toss a tuple on there. Okay, future templates in the child count. That's good. So hopefully now it gets passed all the way through. Expected struct fact found tuple. That's a vector. That's that. Oh, I didn't save that. Okay. Oh, it works. Well, it compiles, which means it works. Here we go. All right. I'm going to go to login again. Well, it didn't crash on the 404. That's good. Login. Oh, not yet implemented. How did we... where was that? That's here. This one. So child count was equal to 0. And the top of the stack was empty? Dun dun dun. I didn't think we would come through this. Unless login has more. Oh, it also has flash. Yes, login has flash as well. So in the case of flash, so in that case, we want that there. But in the other case, we just want to write out the content. So that markup needs to be written out. So that would be basically this with the markup. Hey, PVT Nacho. How you doing? So something like Flash that's at the top level. All right. Coming right up on the hour here. Oh, interesting. So what did we end up with? Nothing in the body. That's disappointing. That's really disappointing. We should have had something. Are we? We're on the login page, right? Yeah. It skipped the whole body section. So what we ended up having was Flash. This is what it ended up looking like. So we came through, did that, added Flash. So here, let's log some of this. Like the content here, log. I don't know, content. See, top level widget with no children. There we go. Content. Yeah. What about this one? This one is up level, I don't know, widget with content, WWC. slightly off topic question, but let's see. When I first learn, let's say, a new programming language or framework or new topic, what's my learning method? So people learn differently, right? And for me, when I learn something like Rust, I can't just read the book. I read the book. I can't just read the book and then know it. I've got to get in there. Yeah, understanding the book is a good head start for me because it helps round out some of the, I don't know, just address some of the little tiny bits that, like, how do you create a variable, right? What is this borrow checker thing, right? Create some foundational sort of knowledge. But then you get in and start to do exercises. For me, it's where, like, actually getting in and getting those, million paper cuts in the case of Rust that really helped me learn it, which is why we're here doing this. Oh, interesting. And that content is empty. Oh, let me kill my cookies. Not accessibility. No, not performance. We want memory. No, not memory. Application? Where is it? Where do we keep the cookies? Storage. There we go. Delete that. Reload. Still nothing. And we got top level with NC. So we came through and hit this once. Right. Why just once? So it hit this and it left. It bailed. Login. So we have two here, and this one has children. Oh, you completed a 9-hour C++ beginner tutorial. Nice. Nice. All right. I've got bugs in here, but I've got to run. We're receiving some more chickens today. So one of our neighbors is looking to move and they can't take their critters. So we're gonna house them. So I've got to prep for that. Then I have to give food to the rabbit. My daughter's rabbit needs food. Schmelly orc. Look at this. Godot. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I gotta clean up. Gotta clean up. Who shall we raid? Let's see. Let's raid Soding. Unless you have somebody else. The script is way fancier than it used to be. Oh, yeah. That's nice. Yeah. Amusing did a great job with the updates on this. You can change all of these little tokens over here. So I ended up grabbing some, yeah, whatever these are, emoticons. Yeah. So then I'll look into that press to mute. I'll probably go with the one that lag. All right. Well, thank y'all for hanging out. There we go. Ooh, big webcam. Way too close. All right. So next time we'll end up trying to get that nested widgets working, because once that works, then we can finish off admin and start getting the other pieces working for the real meat of this. So until next time, y'all. Bye-bye.